All right, so now I'm going to talk about photo compositing, which is a feature that we originally kind of refined in Beyond Typicals, and then we brought it over. It's just the ability to bring images behind of or in front of your 3D model so that you can blend them together in one composite render, either an image or a video. So I'm going to show how this is done in this bend roundabout example project. You can find this here, and we have it all set up when you use Civil Engine that you can check it out yourself, but I've deleted all that stuff and I'm gonna do it from scratch. So you can see here, we've got this roundabout, but it's all white. We don't even have aerials, and we wanna composite it. So the first thing you can do is you can go to the base model, and then you can phase the areas that are the terrain or whatever the existing stuff is that you don't wanna show up, that you want to show the image behind. You can phase that stuff by creating a phase called composite. And then in the base model, you want to find those elements. So buildings and lots, and you want to just phase them with that composite off. So now, whenever you're ready to do your render, you can go to phasing, click composite off, and you're good to go. These are just the elements you want to show up. So if we go to Google Earth, you're probably going to have your own files. This can be done with drone photos or street photos. Pretty much any angle you can do it with, but we're going to do it here with this top-down aerial that I'm getting here from Google Earth. So I'm just going to clip this out. You can also render out of Google Earth, but I'm just going to clip this out. And I'm going to call this bend aerial. All right, so now let's go back to Civil Engine, and let's go to our basic rendering tab. So by default, it's going to open the rendering tab here, but we want to go to photo compositing and we want to go to import new layer. Now we need to go find that image, and now we brought it in behind. We also, whatever resolution you're going to render it at, you want to make sure it's set there as well, because it's going to show up that way. And then make sure you have preview aspect ratio on as well. You can see here the image that we have isn't quite 4K, so we need to adjust it a little bit. So we can go here and we can just adjust the scale until it fits the edges of our render, like so. And now it's just a process of making sure we get this adjusted to the angle of the camera. So this one, it's an aerial image, so it's a little bit easier, but sometimes it may be kind of tedious to get it lined up. And you can use your mouse, just navigation in general, but you can also use the settings down here for more precise controls. You probably will also want to adjust the field of view to get it the way you want it to be. And I can know the orientation here because we've got the railroad tracks. And then you can also do fine-tune controls using XYZ here. So you can see when we really want to get it dialed in, we can adjust those. You'll see if I zoom all the way out, it just disappears. And what's happening is we've got to kind of set a distance for that image, depending on if we want it to be in front or in back. So we can just go to occlusion distance, and we can just push this way further back so that it doesn't do that. And then we can go here and get it zoomed in, and then we just need to position it before we render it. All right, so that took a minute or two, but I feel pretty good about our match. When you get a match, it's really important. You need to go to rendering and you need to save current camera, because if not, if you move things around, then you're gonna have to do it again. But because I saved that, I can go back to this. I can also rename it something like Composite 1 so that I know that that's what it is. So if we went to and we made another camera, we know that this one's Composite 1, this one's another camera. All right, so now that we're happy with this, and one other note is these images that you bring in behind your 3D model, they're gonna come in darker in the preview, but when you render them out, they should be the correct color. And before I render, another thing you can try and do, this is a little bit easier in Beyond Typicals, but you can also do some shadow matching. So over here on the left, we've got this tree, and we want to get some shadows to show. And so let's have a tree placed over there. And it's easier in Beyond Typicals because you have the ability to turn off the visibility of that asset, which we don't yet have in Civil Engine. But for now, we can just leave the tree as is. And then we need to make sure that the sun is matched to our image. All right, let's go back to composite 1. And now we are ready to render. And you can render these as images or as videos. If it's a video, you usually want to keep it pretty short because it's not like a lot is going on with the camera movement. Make sure that we have the right folder selected, and then we just want to record video. All right, so looking at this render, there are a few things, if I want to be picky, that I could fix. So I'm going to do that. So the camera matching, we want to bring it in a little more, something like this. And then the other thing is I've got dirt here, but you can see it's grass. So let's just go to texture and let's paint grass there. Something more like that. And then we've got a number of trees that are kind of in the way. And so I just want to replace those in 3D so that at least it's not blocking on top of there. All right, so let's try rendering this out again. This time I'm just going to do a screenshot. And then something you can also do as well is render without the 3D model. To do that, you just want to bring this to the front. And when you render both, then you're going to get the exact same aspect ratio and lighting and all that stuff. And then you can do like wipe fades in video editing to show how it's different. And that's pretty cool. All right, so this is how it turned out. Again, this was maybe 10 or 15 minutes of work with revisions. So it goes pretty quickly. It's just the camera matching that usually takes the longest. So I want to show a few examples. So if we open this project back up the way that it is originally, you can see that I've done this with, and you need to go and set this at 4K, and we need to go turn this off. And then we've saved the cameras, and you just need to find, I think it's preset 6 is the tightest. And you can see here, this is Google Earth, but I've cut it into 2 different parts, and you can do the same. I've got foreground and background because these trees are going to be blocking it. And if you can ever do that, it helps blend it in. We've got a lot of videos on our website about how you can do this in Beyond Typicals, but the same principles apply here. You do have to have some Photoshop skills to edit around some of those elements, but if you can, it's going to blend in much better, and you're going to get this nice blended photo composite or video composite if that's what you want to do. Here's another example. It's not built in as an example project, but you can find it if you click the More Example Projects button. And this is donated to us by Nevada Department of Transportation. It's an actual project here in northern Nevada where I'm at. And we've got the same thing. I have the aerials. I've turned them onto their own layer called composite. We can turn that off. We go to our photo compositing, and I've got a foreground and a background. I've already matched it. You can see here it's under construction in the drone shot. But then we can go here and we can match using one of these presets, preset 2. And then we can render this out as well. One cool tip is you can, I mentioned this earlier in the video, but you can use those scene effects to just add some more color or better tell the story of your project. So feel free to check all of those out as well. All right, and then we have this Boulder City Parkway project that we were showing earlier, and the same thing. We've got the aerials and the buildings and everything all turned off. We've got this Google Earth photo. You can match it together, and then you can save that camera and go back to it. And then you can also look at some options with your scene effects if you would like, or you can just render it out as is, as realistically as possible.